A day after the game, the next morning, the morning after an atrocious result. Not an atrocious result, an atrocious performance, I think. 1-0, I think, flattered Real Madrid yesterday against Liverpool. It was a flattering result for Real Madrid. It could have been more if it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois. It definitely could have been more. And I think Real Madrid fans would be waking up today with more questions than answers, which probably, wasn't expected seeing as how we performed in the El Clasico. You'd be thinking we're going to get more answers, and we're going to look forward to the future and think, you know what, we're looking good this season and we're going to be playing well. But now Real Madrid fans have a lot more questions than answers. And I think it's a situation of one step forward, and I think 2 steps back might be an understatement. I think we're like 3-4 steps back. We're back to the Atletico Madrid game. After that game, we're looking at the team, and it was giving us, flashbacks of last season. And I'm sorry to say, the game yesterday against Liverpool gave me flashbacks of last season. It felt like I was watching the game of last season all over again. I had to make sure that I wasn't watching the game and I was watching a game of, this season, 2025-2026. We need to start seeing the performance. I think we have seen what Alonso is trying to do, but I think we need to start seeing, performance in the sense that we need to start putting on a performance where the fans can look at it and say, you know what, we didn't win today, but on another day, we probably get a result. If we play that Liverpool game 20 times, I don't think we win any of them. Based on how we performed yesterday, I think if we play that Liverpool game 20 times, we probably get a draw. Maybe Courtois keeps saving the ball, saving, we get a 0-0 draw. Because I don't think we could have scored if we got another 90 minutes to play in that Liverpool game. That's how bad we were. We were so bad. I don't think if we got given another 90 minutes, I don't think we would have put the ball in the back of the net. So I think about the future of this team. I think about how is this team going to come up against teams like Arsenal, teams like Bayern. But I watched the Bayern PSG game, because I couldn't really sleep. I mean, people kind of underestimate the effects that, sports team supporting a sports team has on a fan. Because I literally couldn't sleep yesterday because I was thinking about, Real Madrid and how we're going to progress in the future. And I was like, you know what? I might as well have a look at the other matches that went on yesterday and, have a look at the competition, because you're not just going to face Liverpool this season. We're going to face Manchester City. We're probably going to face, teams like Bayern Munich, PSG, Arsenal, in the knockout stages. And I'll have a look at the Bayern versus PSG game. And Bayern look like the best team in the world. At the moment, Bayern Munich look unstoppable. I'm very intrigued to see how that Bayern Munich versus Arsenal game go, because I think that game is going to decide who has the ability to go all the way to win the Champions League this season. They look absolutely unstoppable. I mean, apart from the, apart from the second half, which obviously Bayern had to defend, Bayern looked unstoppable. They looked like the team that won the Champions League last season. And this is a PSG team that is kind of, innovating, the approach play of going forward, the fluidity that they have going forward. They have a lot of players and they move the ball very quickly. Their build-up play is very good. But Bayern were resilient yesterday and they were clinical. Harry Kane, next to Mbappe at the moment, he's probably the next best thing in terms of strikers. And I think Mbappe is not a striker. It's a topic I'll get into later in the video. But Harry Kane, I have to give him his flowers, because I think he's a striker that I've kind of underrated a little bit, because I've been thinking, you know what, he's not really the main striker. He's a false nine. He doesn't do his striker role well, but the role he does in that Bayern Munich team is absolutely essential. Absolutely essential. And I think Bayern Munich look outstanding. And it hurts a little bit as a Real Madrid fan, the status of Real Madrid, that I watch teams like Arsenal, I watch teams like Manchester City, I watch teams like Bayern Munich, I watch teams like PSG. And even last season, we watched teams like Barcelona. They played well. They had a style of play. They had an approach. They had a way to build out from the back and a way to create chances. And they were scoring goals. And I look at the Real Madrid team and I'm like, why don't we have this? And I thought that's what we were going to be getting with Xabi Alonso. because he's finally a manager that has a system, that has a way of playing. So I kind of thought, okay, you know what? Last season, Ancelotti, not a tactical manager. We're bringing in a tactical manager in Xabi Alonso, and he's definitely going to do something. Now, on to Xabi Alonso. I'm going to get onto the players and how I think, things are going in terms of performance and all stuff like that. But I want to talk about Xabi Alonso because I think he's a good manager. He has proven that he is a good manager. In that match against Barcelona, he tactically, outclassed Hansi Flick. His approach to the game was very effective, and I think, he approached the game very well. I'm giving him his flowers for that. But I've come to notice he is a little bit naive. I think he feels, if something works in one game, it's going to work in another game. And I think he is tactically naive in the sense that he doesn't know how to properly approach games the way they should be approached. I think he takes one approach that works from one game and copies and pastes it in the next game and expects it to work. The lineup yesterday, if Trent was fit enough to come onto the pitch, I think Trent should have started. Camavinga on the right wing should never have happened. He's not a right winger. It worked in the Barcelona game and it was unexpected, and that's why it worked. But Camavinga is not a right winger. When he's coming up against a competent left back, when he's coming up a competent left back, he is not going to play well. And Andy Robertson is a competent left back. Camavinga should not have been on the right wing, and we should have found a way to maybe, I don't know what we should have done, but I think we should have found a way to approach this game differently. And I think I said this in the watch along. Liverpool this season, Arne Slot has basically told everyone how to beat Liverpool in terms of kicking the ball long, playing the counter-attacking ball, and you're going to get them behind them because their defense is not solid. Xabi Alonso, for whatever reason, decided to set up the team so that they pass out from the back, so that they play the ball, try and play through that Liverpool midfield, that hectic Liverpool. I mean, Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai probably up there with, Caicedo, Enzo, and then Cole Palmer in that midfield. That midfield three is very, very, very difficult to play to. If you watch the game, Bellingham could not get a breather. And I think Bellingham's best performance was in the first half, where he was, very, very, I think once Gravenberch got to grips with Bellingham in terms of physicality, tracking his runs and stuff like that, he was nullified. Gravenberch was on Bellingham like a backpack. He was following him like a shadow, didn't let him out of his sight. And that's how Liverpool were going to, I said this, I think I said this in the match, in the watch along as well, before the match started. I said it was going to be a tough midfield battle because that Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai midfield, they are all hard workers. They are all hard workers and they're going to make it difficult to play through them. But for whatever reason, Alonso saw that and decided to play through them. He decided to play through that midfield that looked very difficult to do. And a lot of teams, last season, a lot of teams had issues playing through that midfield. And this season, as I said, a lot of teams have shown how to beat Liverpool. Play the ball over the top, get the counter attack, and you're going to get, a strike. If you have a striker that can play in behind on Konate and Van Dijk, you're going to get opportunities to score goals. And granted, yes, maybe Alonso came to the game with a game plan and tried to play through the Liverpool midfield. In the first 10 minutes, you could see that wasn't going to happen. You could see that Liverpool midfield was going to make it difficult. And as to why he didn't switch up play, he didn't switch up his approach to doing something different is a baffle to me. It honestly is a baffle to me. Another issue I've had in this season with Madrid when it comes to building up play, creating chances is we have been too tidy. I think I have said this on almost every match reaction I've done for Real Madrid, apart from maybe the El Clasico. I think even with the El Clasico, I have said this a lot of times that Real Madrid are too tidy. We are too scripted. We are too trying to pass the ball in the back of the net. We have players that are capable of scoring from anywhere. 18-yard box, edge of the box, free kicks, corners, long range. We have quality players that can do that. as to why we are trying to pass the ball into the box when we don't even have a number 9. It would make sense if we had a number 9 in the 18-yard box that's standing there waiting for a tap in, and we can pass the ball to his feet and he can get the tap in. It would make sense. But we don't have that. We have a striker that wants to move from the striker position to left wing, to right wing, to center attacking mid. Not doing a false 9 role, by the way. Mbappe doesn't play a false 9. He is not dropping deep to get the ball and facilitate play or ping the ball like Harry Kane does. He's just moving around the pitch, getting the ball, does a little bit of skill move, pass the ball and makes a run into the box that no one follows. We try to be too tidy. I said this in the Barcelona game. Arda Güler did that and, tried to do that and gave away the goal that Barcelona scored in the El Clasico. Real Madrid are trying to be too tidy. I don't know if it's a tactical thing. I would believe it's a tactical thing, but the players need to, or Alonso. I don't want to say the players. I think it's a tactical thing. So I'm going to put this on Alonso. Alonso needs to remember that we have quality players. We need to be more direct. We need to get the ball, make one pass, and be through on goal. That's the type of, chances I want us to be creating. The passing the ball around at the back, sideways, side to side, back to, it's like the ball gets to the midfield. We look at the pass. Sometimes the pass is there, but we're not trying to take that risk. We try and pass the ball back. We pass the ball, it's too tidy. There was a chance Arda Güler got one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He's looking for Mbappe. As to why he's looking for Mbappe, only God knows. He's one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he's looking for Mbappe. Valverde has gotten some chances where he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper and he's looking for someone else to pass the ball to. Vinicius, sometimes he gets the ball, he's one-on-one with the goalkeeper and then he's trying to look for a pass. I don't know why we're not being direct when it comes to creating chances. And I want to believe that it's coming from the manager. And I think that needs to change. Because as I said, we have the quality of players to be able to break defenses, to be able to cause issues for defenders. And when we're being too tidy, when we're passing the ball around, when we're being too scripted, it's not going to work. It's frustrating. As a Real Madrid fan, watching the quality of players like Vinicius, Mbappe, Bellingham, Güler, just passing the ball around and not creating chances, it is absolutely frustrating. Really, really is frustrating. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is Kylian Mbappe. Now, Kylian Mbappe has come to Real Madrid and he has scored goals, broken records, put his name in, back in the mouth of people, and people have, come to remember that Kylian Mbappe is a great player and, he's one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world at the moment. But I look at Kylian Mbappe and I'm sorry to say this, take this however you want to take this. Kylian Mbappe is not a striker. Kylian Mbappe is not a standard center forward striker. I really do think so. Although it's frustrating. Again, Madrid is just frustrating, to be honest. But it's frustrating to say Kylian Mbappe is not a striker because he has scored a stupid amount of goals from that position. It's strange how he finds ways to score goals in those positions, but I think it's because he's just a good forward. I think there's a difference between being a really good forward and being a world-class striker. And I think Erling Haaland is a world-class striker, but he's not a good forward. He's a world-class striker, but I don't think he's a striker that can play on the left wing. I don't think he's a forward that can play in all three forward positions. I think Mbappe can play in all three forward positions, and the only position I think he has a weakness in is playing as a focal point striker. And I think we need that. We need a focal point striker in this team. We need someone who doesn't mind, playing the full game, just occupying the center backs, just laying balls off, making runs into the box, and, taking defenders off players, where players can also work off his movements in the box. And I think it might be crazy to say, I think Gonzalo Garcia deserves to start getting some game time in this team. I think he's a striker that I believe can, stand on the last man. He can push defenders forward. He can, I think in the Club World Cup when Mbappe was playing on the left and Garcia was playing at strike, it worked. You could see that dynamic. You could see, when we have a box presence, you can see that it works. So I wouldn't mind seeing one game where Vinicius is on the bench and Mbappe is on the left and Garcia is at strike. I would like to see that dynamic play out. I really would, because if we have that and we're still being tidy, then we have a problem. Then it's the manager's, approach, play, or tactics or system not working out, because I think the reason as to why we're being tidy is because there's no one in the box to pass to. I did say, yes, sometimes there are opportunities where we can make the pass, but there are also a lot of opportunities where the person we're trying to find in the box is outside the box. Mbappe, most of the time, he's outside the 18-yard box. He's on the left-hand side. He's on the right-hand side. He's in the middle of the pitch. He's not in the box where we want him to be. And Arda Güler is not a striker. Arda Güler is sometimes in the 18-yard box, but Arda Güler is not a striker. So I think if we can find a way to make that work, it's a lot. It really, really is a lot at the moment for Real Madrid. And as I said, we have a lot more questions than answers at the moment. And it's one step forward, a lot of steps back. A lot of steps back. Alonso needs to figure out how to make this Real Madrid team with the quality of players that they have at the moment. He needs to find a way that they can create consistent chances in a way that fans can watch Real Madrid games and say, you know what? It wasn't our day today. The team was better than us, or, the goalkeeper made a lot of good saves. Back to Thibaut, we cannot rely on Thibaut Courtois for the rest of our lives. He's going to retire. He's going to eventually fade in his abilities. We need to start scoring goals. We need to start putting the balls in the back of the net consistently. We need to start putting games to bed. Meets team scored 3-4-0 consistently by creating good chances, not just by scoring penalties and scrappy goals. I don't mind penalties, but we need to be able to create consistent chances where we can look at games and say, you know what? We played well today. We created good chances today, and we deserve to beat this team by the number of goals that we beat them by. I think that needs to start working in, because if that's not the case, it's a lot. It really is a lot. And I'm just trying my best to provide more answers than questions. I'm trying my best not to just ask questions without providing answers, because I am as confused as Real Madrid fans are feeling at the moment. I'm looking forward to see how we play in the next game, but I don't know if that's going to be a reflection of how Real Madrid are going to play for the rest of the season. I want to see changes in the team. Houghton, take him off. Bring Asensio in. Asensio has deserved to have a start in this Real Madrid team. Take Houghton off. Bring Asensio in. Give Houghton some competition, because I think he's a young center back. I don't think he's even 20 yet. He's a young center back. He's going to make some mistakes. I understand that. So give Asensio some game time. The only mistake Asensio has made is in that Club World Cup. And I don't think that one mistake should be enough for him to be on the bench, inevitably. Bring Asensio on. Let Houghton be on the bench. Let them be switching around. I think Militao has been our best defender this season. Courtois definitely has been consistent this season. Mbappe has been good, but I want to see Mbappe as a forward. I don't want to see Mbappe as a striker. I don't think Mbappe is a striker. I want to see an actual number 9 in the field. But the problem is, how do we get Vinicius out of the team? Or how do we get Mbappe on the left? Put Mbappe on the right. To be honest, why haven't we thought about that? Put Mbappe on the right, or put Vinicius on the right. Let them be. You know what? You know what's going to be funny? Let Mbappe and Vinicius switch positions. In terms of, Mbappe can play on the right, and when he wants to switch to the left, Vinicius can go to the right. Let those two occupy those positions. Mbappe and Vinicius on the left and right, I think, could work. We need to have a focal point striker. Once we have a focal point striker and we're still not creating chances, then we can say, okay, you know what? Alonso's system maybe is not going to work, or maybe his system is not good to create consistent chances. Because at the moment, I can't really judge Alonso's system because of how Mbappe plays in that team. I'm not blaming Mbappe for how we don't create consistent chances. He takes those little chances that we do create for him. But the problem is, when we come up against teams with competent center backs, they're not going to allow Mbappe run off them. They're not going to give Mbappe a mile of space, apart from Barcelona. Not a lot of teams are stupid enough to give Mbappe a mile of space to run into because they know he's going to score. Just like Erling Haaland. Not a lot of teams are going to give Erling Haaland a mile of space to run into because they know if they do that, he's going to score an easy goal. So the problem now is we need someone that can, tempt defenders to give him that mile of space because he's not that quick. And then we can use the pace of Mbappe cutting in from the right wing or left wing, and then Vinicius cutting in from the right wing or left wing, because we don't have a right winger at the moment. We do not have a right winger at the moment. Mbappe is at strike, Vinicius is at left wing. We don't have a right winger at the moment. So I'd say put Gonzalo Garcia at strike, put Mbappe on the left wing. Camavinga is not a right winger. Camavinga is not a right winger. So we can put Gonzalo Garcia at the center, put Mbappe on the left wing, Vinicius on the right wing, Arda Güler in the midfield with Bellingham and Tchouaméni as the midfield three, and then Valverde can play his right wing and then right back, and then we sort out the rest of the team. A 4-3-3 going forward. I don't know if we're going to see it. I really don't know if we are going to see that, but that's something I definitely would want to see. This is the formation I definitely want to see, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Again, I have a lot more questions than answers, for this Real Madrid team, and it's concerning. It really is concerning. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. As usual, any feedback from you guys would be greatly appreciated.